When we think about legendary couples, the names Iman and David Bowie immediately come to mind. Their story was nothing short of a fairy tale, even though both came from completely different worlds. Iman, the Somali-born supermodel, was already a global fashion icon when she first met Bowie. David Bowie, on the other hand, was not just a musician but a cultural phenomenon. His voice, style, and ability to reinvent himself made him one of the greatest artists in music history. Their love story began with something as ordinary as a blind date, yet it turned into a bond that lasted decades. Bowie himself once admitted that the very first time he saw Iman, he felt she was the one. For him, it was love at first sight. Iman, however, took a little longer to feel the same way. But eventually she too realized that Bowie was unlike anyone else she had met. What made their story so beautiful was not just the glamour or fame surrounding them, but the fact that they saw each other as real people. Iman often said she fell in love with David Jones, the man, not David Bowie, the rock star. Together, they created a private, happy world that focused on love, family, and shared values. Their relationship became an inspiration to millions, showing that true love can exist even in the spotlight of fame. Before meeting Bowie, Iman had already lived a life full of challenges and triumphs. She was born Zahra Mohammed Abdelmajid in Mogadishu, Somalia. In 1955, her father was a diplomat and her mother a gynecologist, which meant she grew up in a well-educated household. Her grandfather gave her the name Iman, meaning faith in Arabic, believing it would bring her strength and success. That belief turned out to be true. From a young age, Iman stood out with her tall frame, long neck, and striking features. She studied political science at the University of Nairobi in Kenya, planning to follow a more traditional career path. But destiny had other plans. One day, an American photographer named Peter Baird noticed her beauty and encouraged her to try modeling. At first, Iman was hesitant, but when she finally stepped into the fashion world, she became an instant sensation. Her very first assignment was for Vogue magazine in 1976, and from there, her career skyrocketed. She worked with the world's top designers and appeared on countless magazine covers. Designers like Yves Saint Laurent even called her their muse. Beyond beauty, what made Iman special was her elegance, professionalism, and ability to represent her African heritage with pride. By the time she met Bowie, she was not just a model but a respected figure in fashion and a successful businesswoman. Her story shows that she was never just the wife of a rock star, but a powerful personality. In her own right, David Bowie's journey was completely different yet equally extraordinary. Born David Robert Jones in London in 1947, Bowie was fascinated by music from a young age. His early years in the industry were tough, and his first album went largely unnoticed. But Bowie was not someone who gave up easily. In 1969, his single Space Oddity gave him his first taste of success. Then came the era that would make him a legend. By the early 1970s, Bowie introduced the world to his alter ego, Ziggy Stardust, a flamboyant, androgynous character who broke boundaries in both music and fashion. With hits like Starman and Heroes, Bowie became a global phenomenon. What made him unique was not just his music, but his constant reinvention. He shifted from rock to soul, electronic music, and even industrial sounds in the 1990s. He also acted in films like Labyrinth and The Prestige, showing his versatility as an artist. Over his career, Bowie sold more than 100 million records, won multiple Grammy Awards, and was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But despite all the fame, Bowie often felt lonely and longed for a true partner in life. Meeting Iman changed everything for him. She gave him the stability and love he had always been searching for. Bowie once said that when he met Iman, he knew instantly that she was his soulmate. And he pursued her with determination until she finally said yes. Their connection became the foundation for a marriage that lasted over 24 years. Until Bowie's death in 2016, when Iman and David Bowie finally decided to marry. The world was excited to see two icons come together. Their wedding was not a huge flashy celebrity event, but it was full of elegance and heart. They first married privately in Switzerland in April 1992, and then celebrated with a more formal ceremony in Florence, Italy, in June. The wedding took place in a beautiful church, surrounded by family and close friends. Bowie looked charming in a sharp black suit, while Iman stunned in a classic gown designed by Hervé Leger. But beyond the glamour, what touched people most was the way they looked at each other. Guests described the day as magical because Bowie and Iman seemed completely lost in each other's presence. For both of them, it wasn't about fame or showing off, it was about celebrating love. Bowie once shared in an interview that marrying Iman was the best thing I ever did in my life. Iman also admitted that she never imagined she would marry a rock star. Yet Bowie's sincerity won her heart. After the wedding, they moved to New York City, where they built a life together away from constant spotlight. Unlike many celebrity couples, they valued privacy, preferring cozy family moments over red carpets. Their union proved that even in the glamorous world of fashion and music, true love and commitment were still possible. What made David Bowie and Iman different from many celebrity couples was how much they valued a normal, peaceful life. After their wedding, they settled into their home in New York and focused on building a family. Bowie, who had spent decades traveling on world tours and reinventing his career, found comfort in the stability that Iman brought. He often said that their evenings were simple. They enjoyed cooking together, watching movies, or walking through Central Park. Iman later shared that she appreciated how Bowie was never David Bowie at home. He was just David, a loving husband who would make her laugh with silly jokes. Their love was not about luxury, but about connection. Of course, they did attend glamorous events, but they always kept a balance between fame and family. Bowie once mentioned that the happiest times of his life were the quiet mornings with Iman, drinking coffee and talking about anything and everything. That private world they created became a safe space, especially when the pressures of the entertainment industry grew heavy. Their marriage lasted over 2 decades, which is rare in Hollywood or the music world. This long-lasting relationship was built on respect, support, and deep friendship. To the world, Bowie was a legend, but to Iman, he was a partner who valued her dreams, listened to her opinions, and treated her as his equal. In August 2000, Bowie and Iman's love story reached a new chapter when they welcomed their daughter, Alexandria Zara Jones, whom they lovingly called Lexi, for Bowie. Becoming a father again later in life was deeply meaningful. He already had a son, Duncan Jones, from his previous marriage, but Lexi's arrival brought a new kind of joy. Bowie once said that Lexi was his miracle child because she arrived at a time when he and Iman were both deeply settled and happy. The couple was very protective of her, choosing to raise her away from flashing cameras and constant media attention. They wanted her to experience as normal a childhood as possible, despite having such famous parents. Their home in New York became her safe place, where she could play, learn, and grow without being chased by paparazzi. Bowie was known to take her to school himself, and he often paused his busy schedule to spend time with her. Iman later revealed that Bowie was an extremely hands-on father who adored reading bedtime stories and making Lexi laugh. Unlike many celebrity children, Lexi was given a childhood filled with love, privacy, and values, instead of just glamour. For Bowie and Iman, she was not just their daughter, she was the heart of their family. The one who made their home complete. Sadly, the beautiful love story of Iman and Bowie took a heartbreaking turn in January 2016, when the world lost David Bowie to cancer. What made his passing even more shocking was how private he had been about his illness. For nearly 18 months, Bowie had battled liver cancer silently, sharing the struggle only with his closest family and friends. Even while he was sick, he continued creating art. His final album, Black Star, released just 2 days before his death, was his parting gift to the world. The lyrics and imagery showed that he was saying goodbye in his own artistic way. For Iman and Lexi, those final months were difficult yet filled with love. Bowie spent as much time as he could with them, making sure they felt his presence. When he passed away at the age of 69, fans around the globe mourned deeply, and tributes poured in from every corner of the world. For Iman, however, the loss was more personal. It was not just the world's rock star that had died. It was her soulmate, her partner of over 2 decades. She later admitted that the grief was overwhelming, and it took years before she could even speak about him without breaking down. She described him as her true love, saying she would never remarry because David is my husband. The love they shared was so deep that even after his death, Iman carried his memory with her every single day. After Bowie's passing, Iman found strength in her daughter Lexi. She focused on being both mother and father to her, ensuring that Bowie's presence was still felt in their lives. Iman often posted heartfelt tributes to Bowie on anniversaries and birthdays, keeping his legacy alive for Lexi. But she also gave her daughter the freedom to grow into her own person. Many fans admired Iman for her courage. Losing a partner after more than 20 years of marriage is devastating. Yet she carried herself with grace and resilience. She explained in interviews that the love she shared with Bowie was eternal, and that their daughter was the living reminder of that love. At the same time, she encouraged Lexi to live her life away from pressure. Even though the world was curious to see Bowie and Iman's child, Iman respected her daughter's privacy. She rarely allowed her in the spotlight during her teenage years, giving her space to discover who she wanted to be. For Iman, protecting Lexi from unnecessary attention was a way of honoring Bowie's wishes as well. Her journey as a single mother showed her strength, not only as a woman who survived loss, but also as a parent who dedicated her life to ensuring her daughter's happiness. Now that more than 22 years have passed since her birth, fans are curious to know what Lexi Jones looks like and who she has become. Today, she is a young woman with a striking appearance, clearly inheriting the best features of both her parents. She has her mother's tall frame and elegance, combined with her father's unique charm and artistic aura. When rare pictures of her surface online, people often comment on how stunning she looks. But Lexi is not interested in being a celebrity. Instead of following in her mother's footsteps as a model or her father's as a musician, she has chosen a quieter, more private life. She is passionate about art and painting, often sharing glimpses of her work on social media. Her art reflects creativity, depth, and individuality, qualities that she likely inherited from both Iman and Bowie. While she avoids constant publicity, whenever she does appear online, fans are amazed at how gracefully she has grown. It's almost shocking to realize that the little girl Bowie once carried to school is now an adult woman making her own path. Lexi represents the blend of two worlds, the elegance of fashion and the genius of music. Yet she stands strong as her own person. Looking at Iman and Lexi today, one thing is clear: David Bowie's legacy